Welcome to my presentation on portaging in the Canadian wilderness, recorded live at the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show on February 24th, 2024.
Happening at 12:45 p.m. at the Adventures in Paddling stage. Portaging in the Canadian wilderness. CamperChristina. At the Best of Canada Adventure stage, Yukon 101 by Yukon Wild. At the Scuba and Caribbean Adventure stage, scuba diving in the islands of the Bahamas with the Bahamas Tourist Office. And at the International Travel Theatre, Tanzanian Adventures, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, the Serengeti, and Zanzibar Island with Zara Tanzanian Adventures. Catch them at 12:45 at these stages. See you all there.
See you all here. Good. Can everybody hear me? People in the back? I gotta, over there. Welcome to the Outdoor Adventure Show and my presentation on portaging in the Canadian wilderness. I've got a lot of great prizes to give away at the end of the presentation. So if you pay attention and you can answer a skill testing question, you might walk away with some free swag. I have completed some pretty challenging remote solo canoe trips recently. And today I want to do a presentation on a topic that I really love. For me, I like the challenging portages. The ones that make you work, the ones that make you sweat, the ones that make you cry a little bit. I've done my fair share of those. So who am I? Well, my name is Christina. I'm also known as CamperChristina. And in 2002, I went on my very first backcountry canoe trip and I fell in love. I did my first solo trip in 2015 because I had a hard time finding people to go with me. And now that's pretty much my shtick. I do solo trips all the time and it's pretty common for me to do mostly solo trips. Now, I love portaging and you can see here by my face that I love portaging. I'm going to talk about the facial expressions for a second. You're going to see video clips or pictures of me kind of going, making these weird faces. As I mentioned, I love the challenging portages. So these faces here, they all mean I love portaging. Because in the end, after you do a really hard one and you make those faces, that's when you go home and you're like, oh, that was awesome. So why do I love portaging? I have a video clip here that I'm going to show. Can you turn up the sound, sir? How do you feel when you see one of these signs? Do you get anxious, scared, happy? A lot of people hate portages. I'm not one of them. I mean, I don't love them, but I like them. And I think they're really cool because they add this element of challenge to your trip and they get you away from people because a lot of people, most people, don't like portages. And so if you just do one or two of them, you go deep into a couple of lakes and suddenly you're out on a lake all by yourself. And it's because no one else wants to do the portages or do the work or carry all their stuff over from one lake to the next. And that's how you get your peace and your solitude and your remoteness of being in these places by yourself, because these portages are granting you that access. What do I love about portages? Well, I think they're really cool. You can travel from one body of water to another by going through this little strip of land, and it's really, really neat. You know, there's this beaten path in the forest, and you follow it, And you go from one lake to the next lake, and then you can go to another lake and another lake. And here in Canada, we're really lucky because we have tons and tons and tons of these routes, canoe routes, that are connecting lakes with portages. And I think that's really, really cool. I also like the challenge of them. And I just think they're a really neat thing. They amaze me. I often walk on these portages and I try to picture the people who have walked on them before me, how they were made, who the first person was to go through here, and what that was like. Portages reconnect you to the land after you've been on the water for so long, and I get to see things on portages that I would never see on the water. Yes, I'm on a portage right now, and yes, I'm eating a Jolly Rancher. I needed it. It's a long one. I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna make it. Guess what? I actually made it to the water. So why do I love portages? Well, they amaze me, they challenge me, they're dynamic, and they get me away from people, and they're also part of my soul. I actually have a tattoo of myself portaging right here on my left arm, and I just really do love them. So, according to Wikipedia, portage or portaging is the act of carrying cargo or watercraft over land in between obstacles in a river or between two waterways. Where did the word portaging originate? Well, it comes from the French, where the word porter means to carry. Now, portages are measured all different ways in different places. So in Canada here, we use meters. 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer equals 0.26 miles. Side note, 1 kilometer portage takes me approximately 20 minutes, or the amount of time it takes to suck on a Jolly Rancher. You don't suck it too hard. And in USA, they measure them by rods, where a typical canoe is 16 and a half feet, and that is 1 rod. So 320 rods is equal to 1 mile. How are portage distances calculated? This is something that I was really interested in looking up because I didn't know. And I asked some of my friends who make maps. My friend Arnaud from Latlong, who's donated some maps here today, he said that they're created in a mapping software, and they're using GPS data and they measure them that way. Now, my friend Jeff from Jeff's, let's get this right, Jeff's Maps by Jeff's it is now. It used to be Alostify, and then before that it was Jeff's Maps. So he's also here in the Algonquin Outfitters booth, and he said that they're all locked and they're using GPS software. Now, my friend Hap Wilson, famous canoe legend, who's also here, he said that what he does is he measures them in paces in 100-yard sections, and he's got it down to about 5% accuracy. Now, I've used a lot of Hap's maps. He's got a guidebook here for Temagami if you're interested in going there. Great maps, fairly accurate. Oops, sorry, I clicked too fast there. So they used to measure portages in 66-foot chains, which is also equivalent to 20 meters or 4 rods. And they used to calculate portages by taking an airplane and flying over and taking a picture and then printing out the picture and measuring it. So you can imagine how inaccurate those are, right? They were like hundreds of meters off. People have died because of these inaccuracies, so not so great. Fun fact, my longest portage was done in May long weekend trip, and it was a 4-kilometer portage. There's the equivalents there, and I actually ended up sleeping on it because I couldn't make it all the way through. Synonyms for the word portage: carrying place is known as Wawaona is Winnebago, meaning carry on the shoulder. Also, Onagam is Ojibwe for portage, and they use the word Nastagan a lot, the Ojibwe do, and it means traditional travel routes. I wasn't pointing the right place, I guess. Some people call portages this. This is me back on that lovely 4-kilometer portage. I went about a kilometer in, and then I found this little trickle of water, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take that. Don't do that. You're gonna end up bushwhacking, being exhausted, and swearing, and all kinds of stuff. Portage uniform, right? I always wear pretty much the same thing. I wear long sleeves, I wear long pants. During bug season, I wear a bug shirt, because I have a tank top on usually, still long pants. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One, highly attractive. Hey, look at that. But you know what? It works for me, right? And I'm not seeing anybody out there, so I don't care. Sun protection, insect protection, protection from poisonous plants, cuts and scratches, right? You got branches and stuff if you're in these remote areas, and keeps you clean. I also have a little bit of portage uniform for my footwear. I wear Keens, as you guys know, they're my favorite. And I have my Keen sandals. They got a nice bumper on the toe, right? Again, highly attractive. Who doesn't like socks and sandals? I'm German, so whatever. Bumper protection, protects your toes. Sun protection, poisonous plants, cuts and scratches. Keeps your feet clean. They dry quickly, and they smell heavenly, right? So you ever have like sporty equipment, you come home and you forget to like unpack it, and like a week later, they don't smell very good, but they do a great job. Now the most important thing that the socks do, they protect your feet from leeches. I always get a nice whoa when I put the slide up, so I like using it. I was on a 5-day solo, my first big 5-day solo trip, and I had 20 minutes left paddling to the access, and I looked down at my foot and there's this giant leech, 6 of its little babies on the toes. I bled for about 2 hours. And yeah, I always wear socks with my sandals now pretty much on every single portage, and that's why. Portaging etiquette, right? There's all kinds of lists you can find. I think Kevin Callan's got a big list of stuff. Basically, use your common sense, right? Let's say you're on the portage, you're like me, you double carry, you drop off the canoe, you're walking along, you got nothing in your hands. Here comes Andrea Wilson, the portage queen, right? She's got 2 canoes on her head. She's got a Wanigan on her chest and a backpack. What do you guys do? Get out of the way, right? Common sense. Don't block the portage. This is actually a great picture I took on Florence Lake. I was doing a multi-day trip there, and going from the one end of the lake to the other, there's a portage, and somebody put their tent right on the portage. Don't be this person. Don't do that. What do people portage? Canoes, packs, kayaks, paddleboards. I've seen people backcountry camping on blow-up pink flamingos, white swan, blow-up things, coolers. Here's a picture of me portaging my Delta before I got a nice super light H2O canoe. Anything and everything. I didn't get a picture of that pink flamingo, so I asked some of my friends on Facebook to send me some pictures of their favorite shots of what people portage, and they were kind enough to send me these. Got a nice Swift canoe up there, fully loaded with the guys carrying it. Don't do that. Don't do that. How do you find the portage? Some of these places that I go to, the portages can be pretty elusive. It can be very hard to find them. So, and I'm not trying to scare any you new people. If you're going to common areas, you're going to see, you know, these nice signs, right? Match my tattoo. Bright yellow signs. Trail tape is another one that you might see in some more remote places. Rock cairns, as you saw in the video there. If there's no trees, right, then people will stack 3 rocks on top of each other. This is why they say don't move those, right? Because they're for navigation. You know, that they're there for a reason. Axe blazes, old and new. I tripped in Temagami for like 2 years before I knew about the axe blazes. Alex Matthias, native elder, taught me about these. That's actually an axe blaze. I thought it was part of the tree, right? Like it looks like it just belongs there, but it's actually an axe blaze. There's an old one and a new one there. So you're just looking for signs that people have been through. Be aware, look at the grass, look at if the branches are broken, right? Use several good maps. This is a big one. This is really important. When I go into these places out in the middle of nowhere, I try to have at least 3 maps with me. And this is why. Here is this portage, that 4-kilometer I told you guys about, okay? The one I really, really loved. Jeff's map at the top. That's actually a Jeff's map, not the maps by Jeff. And you can see he's got 2 portages totaling 2,400 meters, right? Same portage on the Friends of Temagami map. Got 2 portages, totaling 3,000 meters. And then over here on Hap Wilson's map in his Temagami guidebook, he says that it's 1 portage and it's 3,895 meters. Okay, I lied to you guys. It's not a 4K quite, but let's call a 4K a 4K, right? It's close enough. So even like with portages and stuff, sometimes I will look at a map and I'll be looking for the portage and I'm in the spot where I'm on the map, but it's not there. And if I have one of these other maps with me, that helps me to find the portage because sometimes it's on one and it's not on the other. So maps are made at different times of the year, different years, so they can vary quite a bit. Look for openings in the trees. It's an easy one if you're new. And you know, my very first backcountry trip, I was out on a lake. It was a big lake. I was on the wrong side of the lake. I had no idea where I was. If you look up sometimes in the trees, you can see where the trees stand or where there's a little break or something, where there's a creek. Go in that direction. You usually find the portage there. Following animal paths. This is something I talked about on a presentation last year. I wanted to mention it again because it was really important. I was in Temagami at Goss Lake. I couldn't find this portage to save my life. I was paddling around for like 45 minutes. I finally docked the canoe. I got out. I'm looking around. I see a big pile of moose poop, right? Then I see some moose tracks. And then I see this. I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't have my little red thing there, but there's just a little tiny trail right there in the grass, okay? And I followed that little tiny trail and it took me to the portage. So a lot of times when you're in these overgrown areas, don't look up, don't go, oh, where's the trail? I can't see it. Look right down at your feet and you can usually see that trail. It's burned right into the ground. Trees cut with saws. This is a new one for me. I didn't even clue into this. I was in a forest fire burn area last year and I'm going through the portage. There's down trees everywhere. There's debris everywhere. You can't see the trail in the ground. But here, some person, obviously, animals don't do that. They came along with a saw and they cut that. And I was like, oh, this is fresh cut. Somebody was here. I'm in the right spot. Portage accesses. Let's talk about those for a bit. Sometimes they can be harder than the portage itself. This is a beautiful dream access. Magnetawan Lake in Algonquin Park. Nice beach. You pull up. It's got that little... When you pull up, it's not, right? Opening, there's no debris, there's lots of room for people. Me, I end up more or less something like this. This is at the Shangri-La Portage in Temagami. I'm actually sitting in the canoe in the water here, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, how am I going to get up here, right? So after, you know, some grunting and groaning, getting all my stuff up on a few scratches, got a couple of scratches on the canoe, Jeff, sorry. I finally made it up onto the portage. The portage wasn't that difficult, but just getting up onto it sometimes can be really, really tricky. Voted worst access of all time, or 2023 by me. This is another portage in the forest fire burn area I was in Grace River in Temagami. This portage was less than 100 meters. It took me almost an hour to do it. And it was just, this whole portage was like this, just down trees everywhere and carnage and a few more scratches. Sorry. There's my I love portaging face. So on the portage, you've got all different types of terrain that you're going to see. Let's talk about some of those. Right? That's what we want. It's beautiful. Flat, it's dry, it's open, it's mulchy. You walk on it, it's kind of a little bit spongy, right? It's lovely. Then you've got the similar terrain. Inclines, declines, some steep hills, whatever. Great for your butt. I clearly haven't done one of those in a little while, but very good for your butt. Boardwalks, right? They save you from the wet terrain. You'll find them in a lot of places like Algonquin and Haliburton. Now you got to watch out for these boardwalks because sometimes they can get really slippery, right? Sometimes it's safer just to walk on in the water or whatever is beside what it's going around. So test it. Now this is a portage in Haliburton Highlands and it's got chicken wire over it. So it kind of gives you a little bit more traction, but just be careful when you first get out there, like test it with your feet to make sure you don't slip and fall. On the Nostogan, they used to use what they called Medico Macana or Matigo Macana. I asked Hub Wilson 10 times how to say it, I still can't remember. But I was looking up this information, I thought this was really interesting. This is how they used to make the boardwalks on the Nostogan, and they used cedar for this, and then they put notches in the joints and they secured it by spruce root. So just an interesting side fact I thought you guys would like. Embedded boulder gardens. They're not bad, right? They've been there for a long time. They're part of the earth. You walk on them, they don't move, everything's nice, you're all good. Then you got some not so good boulder gardens. These are also known as ankle breakers, right? You got these little rocks and you're walking and you really got to be careful because you can slip and fall, you can break your ankle like that. Especially being out by yourself, it's you got to be really careful. Then we've got some bigger boulder gardens, right? We're making our way down the Lady Evelyn River here because these pictures are just perfect as you're moving along. They seem to get bigger and bigger. This is a 50-meter portage. This is my least favorite portage of all times. This is actually one of those faces. It's not a really, I don't love this portage at all. I've done it twice now, 3 years apart. When I went back last year to do this portage, I was like, oh, this portage is going to be so great. You know, I've done all this other stuff in between. No, it was awful. It's 50 meters, and they're rocks. There's water running underneath the rocks. They're loose, they're wet, they're slippery, they've got moss on them. And then I got frozen. You ever get frozen on a portage? You know, you're just walking along and you just kind of stand there and you can't move. Happened to me both times, so I don't like this one. There's the real, that's the real I don't like portaging things right there. Plus like boulder gardens, they get bigger and bigger, as I said, along the Lady Evelyn. And this is actually Fat Man Falls portage. What I did to get down this was I slid the canoe down, sorry Jeff, down the rocks, and I kind of wedged them in. And I used the canoe kind of like a railing to help myself get down. Really, really steep stuff, really tough. You really got to take your time here. And then you've got the big boulder. Why am I here right now? Just like why? This is at the bottom of Bridalveil Falls, probably one of the most daunting portages I've ever done. Huge, big boulder. You can rappel down it, maybe with a rope. Have no fear. You can always be a gymnast, and you can take the log that Hap and Andrea put there. And I've actually taken the log twice. It's actually quite wonderful to take that instead of trying to slide down that big boulder. So then we've got some mixed terrain, right? All the things. We've got some water here, we've got some mud, we've got some embedded rock, some tree roots. These can get really slippery when they get wet, so watch out for those. And here's my worst mixed terrain portage of 2023. You guys saw the video clip. I actually wiped out on this portage 3 times. It was a 100-meter portage. In the middle, there's sucky muck, there's water, there's down trees. This is a forest fire burn area, and really tough. So you've got to watch your footing, take your time. Down trees, something you see on a lot of portages early in the season, right, or after a storm. This one was kind of fun. I'm in Temagami, and I decided to take the canoe first. Don't take the canoe first in Temagami. It's not a good idea. I'm walking along, I got the canoe on my head. I didn't even see this. I rammed right into it, fell down on my butt. Yeah, so not so good. But this was voted the most down trees obstacle course, blow down portage, worst of all times, or 2023, I guess I said here, but it's all times. This portage here was also a 1,000-meter portage. It's a 1K in Temagami through a forest fire burn area. And there's 3 different sections. This isn't me, oh, let's take it at a different angle. These are 3 really different sections on the portage. The blowdowns are about to here. So you've got me, I'm walking along with my canoe, and I'm like trying to get over with the canoe and get, yeah, not so good. You can see here I'm also sporting a Jolly Rancher bump because I needed that to help me get through there. Overgrown portages. This is on the Obabaca River. These are actually great if you do these first thing in the morning. They get really wet, like from dew and stuff like that. You know, the plants and the bushes are wet in the morning. So if you go early enough, you can walk through and just kind of, you know, wash yourself off, save yourself some time at camp by cleaning up. Swampy swamp with tree assist. I love to make up all these fun little terms because I love portages and you got to make them fun, right? you have to do them, so why not make them enjoyable? These ones, you see a lot of these coming up in the spring, maybe not this year because it hasn't been very wet this winter, but people will put down like branches and sticks and all these things so you can kind of go through them. Sometimes those sticks are harder than walking through what you're actually walking around, unless you're dealing with the elusive sucky muck, right? My favorite term. The key to getting out of sucky muck, pull out slowly, right? If you go and you get into that sucky muck, and I'm sure every one of you have done it if you've met some sucky muck, as soon as you start sinking, you got to pull your leg out. If you pull it out too fast, that's what happens. You lose your shoe. And I've actually heard of a few people who have like lost their shoe forever. Like they've never found it. They had to go out without a shoe. So pull out really slowly, take your time, and you should be okay. Always tighten your shoes before you get into some sucky muck, and you should be good. Worst sucky muck portage of all time. This is a river of sucky muck. This actually looks like a nice portage, right? This is all sucky muck. I was going to do this trip, and a friend of mine had just been through here before me, and she said, I sunk into my waist, Christina. I'm going by myself. I'm like, okay, she had a bunch of people with her. They pulled her out, off they went. I'm like, what am I going to do if I sink up to my waist in the sucky muck? So I did a little wawaona, right? Carry on the shoulder. I put a rope on my shoulder, walk through. That way I thought, at least if I start sinking, I could maybe toss the rope up over a branch and pull myself out. Thankfully, I was also going through during bug season, which was awesome. And got my face, I love portaging face on, and I did make it through. This is after I rinsed myself off in the lake. I did get sucky muck up to my knees, but I made it through, and again, very glad I was wearing my water socks because my feet were nice and clean underneath there. Portaging over water, it's kind of like the swampy swamp with the tree assist, right? People have come before you and they've placed rocks in these certain spots so you can kind of, you know, go through and you don't get your feet wet. Through water, okay, it's technically not a portage, right? But I really like this picture. I was in Alyssa Creek in Temagami, and I had waist-high water going through these bushes and stuff, and I do have the face, so it kind of matches with the presentation. What gets you through, right? Do you sing a song? Do you make up like a rhyme? Do you count trees? Do you eat a Jolly Rancher? I might eat a Jolly Rancher. I'm not sponsored by Jolly Rancher yet. But that's what gets me through, right? 20 minutes, 1 kilometer portage, pop a Jolly Rancher in. I know I'm good to go until I get to the end. Then we have other things to get people through, you know. Everybody has their little rewards, right? You know, you got Skittles, you got gummy bears, whatever helps get you through, do it, right? Adult rewards. You know, like I said, everybody needs something, and just to know, it's just an attempt at humor. I'm not promoting the use of alcohol or all of those things, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes after a tough portage, you need an adult reward, right? Right? Yeah? Okay. Cool things I've seen on portages. I've seen so many cool things on portages. I could have made up a whole presentation just about that. But I only get a 30-minute time slot, and I'm already going to go over, so. Bigger lake, beautiful bull moose. Double carrying has its rewards. I dropped off the canoe, I was coming back, nothing in my hands. I hear a little splish splash in the water. I'm like, oh, I get my phone out, I'm taking the video. There he is, he's waiting for me. Beautiful. Lynx, some of you may have known, I mentioned this a few times. I saw a lynx on one of my trips in Temagami a couple years ago. Really magical moment. And it's better in the video, the still's not that great, but I mean, it's a lynx. Like, I would never seen this if I wasn't on the portage. So, awesome. Stunning scenery. This is the beautiful waterfalls at Brideville before you get to that big boulder, that awful part with the balance beam thing. So it kind of gives you some motivation to go on. Beautiful waterfalls. A lot of portages go around water, waterfalls, rapids. So always stop and take a look. There's so many great things to see on the portage. Why would you want to hurry through it? I don't understand. I'm trying to convert you guys here. I hope I'm doing a good job. Cool things I've seen on a portage like this. So I don't know if you can see this. There's a little bit of like smoke or mist rising. I was on a 1 kilometer portage last year and I'm walking through and I'm like, what is that? There's like puffs of smoke coming out from the bushes. And then I figured it out. It was early in the morning, because you guys know I like to get up like the crack of dawn and go out. And the sun was just hitting these like plants and stuff that were covered in dew and, you know, the morning mist and whatever. And as it's evaporating, it's making this really nice, cool mist. So I thought that was really neat. And again, I would have never noticed this if I wasn't on a portage. Other cool things I've seen, blueberries the size of grapes, forest fire burn areas. If you like blueberries and you like a good challenge, go to those. Tons of blueberries. These blueberries were unbelievable. I'm walking along and I'm just like, and I've got 15 blueberries in my hand and it's just so delicious. Mushrooms, fungi, Indian pipe, all different kinds of cool plants, lady slippers. There's so many cool things to see on the portage. Down here we've got a snake eating a frog, right? I'm in Temagami on my way to Spirit Rock and there it is. Like, would have never seen that anywhere else. The joy for some people, sadly, is getting to the end of the portage, but it shouldn't be. Enjoy everything, right? Make it part of your trip. Enjoy the adventure. You got to do the portage, so why not have fun with it and enjoy it? I'd like to thank you very much for coming to my presentation. Don't go anywhere because I have some cool prizes, as I mentioned. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Keen, H2O, for providing me beautiful canoes. If you haven't seen my new canoe, it's the green plaid one over there. It's absolutely stunning. And the one that I beat up, the one that I used last year is just over there at the organic canoe shop there. And I've got some cool prizes. So what I'm going to do is, where's my friend Denny? Denny from Kid Products. Here he comes. He's going to come over and help me because I know a lot of you people and I don't want you guys to think I'm biased. So Denny's going to come up. I'm going to ask a question and then you put up your hand. I need you to shout really loudly, okay? Because it's hard to hear up here because there's a little bit of chaos going on right now. Hi, Denny.
Hi, Christina.
Thank you for helping me.
You're welcome.
Denny is from Kid Products. They make amazing gear and they've got some great stuff. I use their pocket bellow. I have their titanium pot. Shameless plug for you. Is that still rolling, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
You want me to stop it?
No. No, keep it running.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. I don't have my glasses on, so I made this in a really good grandma font. Sorry for grandmas. I'm not dissing you. It's just whatever. Okay. So, first of all, I'll tell you what's going on here. Why does it look like something's missing? Okay. First of all, I screwed up. I left my Keen certificate at home, so I've handwritten the code on here. So this is for a free pair of Keen, says Keen on it. If you have any trouble, just contact me. There's a code in here. You just go online on the website, put the code in, pick whatever pair of shoes you want. If they're $10, $20, or $200, whatever you want, you pick those and you can get them, okay? We've got a flash stove here worth $165 that was donated by my friends from Jet Boyle. And this is a grill. Can you believe this? This is a grill. It's from Sulik 46. It's a titanium grill. It's super light. And I put it together at camp. It's really awesome. And I also have this amazing prize from Lat Long Maps that Arnaud gave me. Nice map case here from Andy, a Recreational Barrel Works. And then there's a Killarney map in here and a sticker and some other stuff in there. So. Yeah, I feel like there's something missing, but oh, I already gave out the OTG meals. Okay, all right, you guys ready? Yeah. Denny, you ready? I think these guys are going to be fast because there's some good stuff. Okay. What was used on some of the Nestagen to create walkways over wet terrain? Oh, sorry, dude, it's your job. Yes? I'm looking for the word, like the name of the actual. You get a chance first, no? No? Is your hand up? Come on.
Young
I couldn't say it properly.
The front there with the,
Who? Denny?
the young gentleman there.
The young gentleman in the front. Cedar. Oh, come on, guys. I made this really hard on purpose, but I thought someone would get it.
Young lady in the front.
Nastagan is a traditional canoe route, or a traditional name for the portage, but no.
No.
Really?
Next.
Do we have to go back? Okay, we're going to skip this question. Apparently I made this too hard for you. Matigo Makana. Medico Makana. Maybe I didn't ask the question right. It's probably my fault. Never mind. Okay. Provide one synonym for portage that I mentioned, not the characters.
Carrie.
At the back there.
Who?
Here at the back.
Shannon? Porter?
No. Next.
Oh.
Yes, no. The lady in blue.
Land Carrie.
Pardon?
Land Carrie.
It might be one, but it wasn't in my presentation.
Gentleman from
Wow, I
Los
made these hard. Pardon? Carry over.
It's
No,
tough
you were
questions
close.
today.
I know, I made them hard on purpose.
Young lady over there.
Winnebago is pretty close. It's called, it's called Wawona. Wawona, Winnebago. What do you think, guys? I'm never going to give a prize. We have to be here all day. Somebody have to kick me off the stage. Okay, let's try this again here. Okay, I'll go down a few because apparently you guys didn't have enough sugar today and nobody's awake. What type of terrain do I suggest that you pull out slowly? Denny?
In aqua.
The lady in the black. Oh,
In the aqua right there.
I need. Yeah.
Yeah, you.
You.
Yeah, your hand up. So, yeah.
Sucky mug.
Yeah, your hand up.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
Come on. Hurry up before somebody takes your prize. Okay. How long does it take generally for me to portage 1 kilometer one way?
Lady.
20 minutes or? Right! Yeah, I'll give you a prize for that. Wait, I don't have any more left. Okay, I'm going to wait till you see what you get. You taking the grill? You don't want the keys? Okay, I got a pair of keys up for grabs. These are usually the first thing to go. This is going to be fast. You ready? Which arm is my portaging technique? Which person? Lady here? Left. Come on up. Okay. That is all. I have one more prize left. Are there any newbies here? Anybody who would like to learn how to winter camp or backcountry camp? This one's for you guys, okay? Only answer if you want this course. This is an online course. You're very welcome. This is an online course for winter camping for beginners or backcountry camping for beginners. What year did I do my first backcountry trip?
The lady in
Lady in the
gray.
gray. 2002, you are correct. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to my presentation. For all your support and nice comments, I really appreciate it. I'm going to be here for a bit if you want to come up and say hi. And enjoy the rest of the show. I'll also be back tomorrow at 1:30 doing a different presentation called Lessons Learned in the Canadian Wilderness. Good job, Christina!
Thank you so much to everyone who came out to my presentation, and thank you especially to my sponsors and my friends who help me to do the trips that I do and provide me with some awesome gear, and who donated these great prizes for my presentations.
Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please click the subscribe button. Also click the bell for notifications. If you'd like to get more information on the stuff I use on my trips, please check out my website at CamperChristina.com. Thanks. Bye.